Thank you.
9 minutes to 7. We shall know soon who will be on the short list to become the Labour candidate for the Mayor of London. Two of them in the running, Ken Livingstone, who's done the job once, of course, and the former Labour MP, Oona King. I'm joined by both of them, and let me ask each of you, in turn, starting with you, Ken Livingstone, what's wrong with London at the moment?
Well, I mean, we're already seeing horrendous fare increases, a 30% increase on bus fares, which hits the poorest. So in a sense, it's almost as though the last 2 years under Boris Johnson have prefigured what this government's doing. It's actually putting the pain on those least able to afford it. But even worse for the long term, all the projects a mayor needs to start, which his successors or her successors will finish, all that work stop. So yes, the things I started up, we've opened East London 9, Crossrail's going to go ahead. But you need to be working now on Crossrail too. We know London's population is continuing to rise. We don't want to get back to it how it was 10, 12 years ago, where the whole city seems like it's, on the point of seizing up.
Oona King?
I think one of the biggest issues with London is that it could just be a much more fantastic place to live. It is a fantastic city.
It's a bit vague, forgive me.
Well, if you want to make London fairer, safer, greener, healthier and happier, there are very specific policies that can do that. And anyone who wants to see the policies that I'm setting out, I'd love it if they would look at my website, oonaformayor.com, because I do think, actually, that if you could strengthen communities and have a mayor that could inspire London to change the way we live and work, that would change the way London feels. And being stressed out is sort of a habitual problem for Londoners. It's something we could change.
I'm not sure that the political slogan that says, let us help you be less stressed out, is going to sweep the board, is it?
Well, I know, but that's because you're not considering how London could or should be, and also
well, that's exactly what I asked you. I wanted to know how London, what was wrong with London.
Well, I've told you what's wrong with London. The principal thing wrong with London, in my view, is that it's not a fair city. I want to make London fairer. So specifically, how can you do that? I want to see a living wage of over £7.85 an hour. I want to close the pay gap between men and women. I want to make services more affordable in London. I want to give young Londoners chances they don't have at the moment. One of the guarantees I will have is that every London school leaver will have paid work experience. And I want to make things fairer for young people who need vocational training. There aren't enough apprenticeships. There are a lot of things we could do to make London fairer.
All right, she's offered us a guarantee there. Ken Livingstone, would you guarantee fares would come down, and what would have to be cut to pay for that?
You can't guarantee anything because we don't know how badly hit London is going to be. We've had the first tranche of cuts. We know Boris was already planning to cut about 450 police. The Home Office cuts will make that worse. The transport cuts will make that worse. I think all any mayor can honestly do 2 years out from the election is say you'll do your best to shield Londoners from the impact of these cuts. And certainly I would want to try and freeze fares. Whether you can actually do that...
freeze, not cut.
Well, in the first place, I mean, the law is quite simple. You can't cut the train fares because there's a deal that was done when they privatised the rail. You can try and keep the rate of increase to inflation, but I would like to cut bus fares, but I'd be lying to you and everybody listening if I said I can do that. I don't know what sort of budget I'm going to inherit. I left office with £1.5 billion in our reserves to get London through difficult times. It looks as though that will all be gone by the time
I get back. In the good days, didn't you, when there was money sloshing around?
And we built up real reserves to get us through difficult times. A lot of that was squandered on some of Boris's vanity projects, like these massively expensive new buses.
Well, nobody liked your bendy buses.
Well, actually, the people riding on them quite like them because we only introduced them on those routes where people couldn't get on the bus. It was about getting large numbers of people at Victoria, Waterloo stations, off the train and on the bus quickly and getting them away.
Isn't the problem, a lot of people listening to this who don't live in London will say, oh God, there they go again. They think London is the only place in the world. Oona King, you made various observations there in your answer to me, talking about the living wage. And the fact of the matter is that London can't do those things. You, as the Mayor of London, would have absolutely no influence whatsoever over how much people get paid by private employers. Zero.
Well, I think the point about the mayor is that it's not just about money. It's about the mayor's strategies. It's about the mayor's influence that it can bring to bear. It was very interesting when Boris Johnson sacked the police commissioner. He had no powers whatsoever to do that, but he did it because of the authority invested in him as the elected representative of London. And I don't think you should underestimate that.
You reckon you could persuade employers to pay more money to their workers?
Oh, certainly. It's happening in certain places at the moment. Canary Wharf has made a move in that direction. Absolutely. There are so many things that you can do if you have inspirational leadership, if you have people looking towards the future and actually showing how it's a win-win situation. All right. That's all people need to know.
Quick thought from both of you in the last minute that we've got. Whoever is the Labour candidate, the problem you'll face is that Boris Johnson is regarded as having done a sort of reasonable job, and he's a pretty popular figure, isn't he, Ken?
No, he's regarded as very entertaining, and if this was a competition to chair, I got news for you, I wouldn't bother to run against him. But, I mean, I'm picking up, because the one good thing about Boris is everyone around him is indiscreet and leaks, that their polling already shows that I'm 10 points ahead if there's an election today, and that's before people begin to see the pain of this government biting. And he can't distance himself from that. He's a fully signed-up member of that sort of trendy Tory tendency.
Oona King, he's popular.
Well, I think, yes, it's true that he does have some good one-liners. What he hasn't done is shown leadership for London. London's lost its champion. London needs a champion. London needs someone that can represent them, represent the city, at a national and international level, and change the way we are at a very grassroots level. Right. That's what I want to do.
Well, we may talk to one or other of you about this again at some point. Ken Livingstone, Oona King, thank you both very much. 3 minutes.